Rebounds TV with Calvin and Barry. Just two crazy fans of the Sacramento Kings and they sharing their opinion. So be sure that you subscribe. It's for the fans, by the fans. Whether you chilling on the couch or wildin' in the stand. For laid back conversations about the Kings, subscribe here. Staying down until we come up thinking this gon' be our year. We're here, drinking beer, talking about the Kings. Be sure you subscribe so you can hear that bell ring, yeah.
What's up, Kings fans? Welcome back to Royal Rebounds, the Sacramento Kings YouTube channel for fans, by fans. Unfortunately, the Sacramento Kings snapped their 6-game winning streak, Calvin. They lose tonight to the Sixers 127-129. No James Harden, no Joel Embiid, no problem for Philadelphia. The Kings were up early in this game, up 21 at one point before they squander that lead in the third quarter. Welcome back, everybody. Shout out to all my guys here in the chat. Gothan, Rotors, Rick is here. Sass, Lee, welcome in. Bouncer is here. Guys, please, if you're a Kings fan, don't forget to smash up that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Calvin, we also saw an injury to Chimezie Metu. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But welcome in. Give me your first thoughts on the loss tonight.
Unfortunate, right? I mean, to squander that lead up big, everything was going so well. They were getting really anything they wanted in the first half. And then, yeah, that terrible run by Philadelphia to end the first half, lots of turnovers, led to maybe the worst third quarter of the season for a third quarter team, right? Ton of missed free throws. They just really couldn't get anything going, any momentum. It felt like Philadelphia just wanted it more in that second half. They were getting all the loose balls, all the offensive boards, putbacks. I feel like Sacramento maybe took their foot off the gas a little early in this game.
100%.
You've won 6 games in a row. You're playing against a team without their 2 best players. You're up 21 points in the first half. I think they kind of felt like this is just going to be easy for us.
Yeah.
And it was not.
Yeah, I mean, they saw no Harden, no Embiid. We're up 21. They took their foot off the gas. They set it on cruise control. We saw the injury that I mentioned to Chimezie Metu, which we'll talk about a little bit later. That, to me, seemed to be the turning point in the game, Calvin. The end of the second quarter, a ton of turnovers for the Kings, bad clock management, a lucky three-pointer to cut the lead to 10 at halftime. And then the bleeding continues in the third quarter. Sixers go on a huge run. I believe it was like 27-7 run to cut the deficit. They go on multiple runs in the third quarter, including a 10-0 run to be up. It was really, really quite wild. Hopefully my voice does not sound too depressed tonight, because I don't want this to be a negative note. Unfortunately, we did lose the game tonight, and we'll definitely talk about that. But guys, the Kings are still doing incredibly well. They are above where we thought they'd be. They are ahead of schedule. And Calvin, they lost tonight, but they just won 6 games in a row, which I think is really, really important. So I do want to talk about this loss. I want to talk about, what happened, what they can do to, I don't want to look and just kind of stand over this loss and look at it and just be depressed and just be so sad about it. I want to look at it as more of what can we do to get better? How can we use this to motivate us, to push us? What can we learn from this game? That's kind of where I'm at, Calvin.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think Mike Brown will do a good job of that. The streak, as great as it wasn't going to go on forever. And I know that Embiid and Harden were not playing, but this is a really good team that they played today. A lot of swings. I'm not saying that the Kings played a great game overall, but this is, what you get when you have a team that's so good offensively, but defensively they've got a long way to go. I mean, that they still had a chance to win this game because they're that good on offense. Although I did think that in the second half, Philadelphia made some great adjustments, and they played really good defense and kind of for, a good portion of that third quarter shut down the best offense in basketball. I thought that Montrezl Harrell did a really good job on Sabonis. We'll get into that a little bit more, but I was prepared at halftime to come in here and say the Kings are the hardest team to guard in the NBA, and that still might be a true statement, but I think you need to give a lot of credit to Philadelphia as well. Even though they were down big, they literally fought tooth and nail to get back into this one, and they pulled it out.
They definitely did. Hey, guys, sorry I'm a little late on the Twitter Spaces. Just trying to get that thing started up now. But, hey, shout out to all my guys here in the chat, the guys that show up, and girls, that show up every day. It doesn't matter if you win or you lose. You guys are here. I see you all. Lee is here. BTS. We got Bouncer, Rodder, Sass. I mentioned you. Fred is here. Tito. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. Jim is here. Lee, Digital, Henry. It's great to see you guys. Christian. Wow. I'm happy you guys are here. You guys show up. You guys are real fans, right? You win, you lose, you're here. We're talking about it. No Island Boys tonight. No Light the Beam tonight, even though shout out to Young Zell. I love all the music he's putting out.
Yes, shout out.
But, yeah, Calvin, unfortunately, the Kings have to lose some games. I know I, for one, wanted the streak to last forever. I was calling it. I said, we're never going to lose another game. Might as well keep the beam lit. But it's unfortunate, dude, the way the NBA goes, you win some, you lose some. I would have loved to come in here, Calvin. If they would have just kept their foot on the gas on that 21-point lead and they would have won by 40, like our guy, Coach Nick, proposed yesterday, dude, I would be fired up. I'd be in here throwing things. I'd be doing unspeakable things, Calvin, if they got another 7-game winning streak. But it's not always like that. And, Harden's out, Embiid's out, but you still got to remember this is a great Philadelphia 76ers team. I believe they're second in the Eastern Conference right now. They just finished up a tough road trip. I think they're on a 5-game winning streak now, including this game. So it is a very, very good basketball team. It's not like we lost to, the Houston Rockets or the Spurs or something like that. Calvin, and also something to note, this Sixers team put up 80 points against the Kings in the first half the last time they played. So, I mean, the Kings were a little bit more in the driver's seat in the first half of this game. I believe it was like 74-64 at halftime. Of course, a lot of points are left off the board with Embiid and Harden out. Mm-hmm. But, hey, the Kings fought. They played their best. They lost.
They did.
Should we take a look at the box score?
Let's do it.
All right. You want to read it today?
Sure.
Let's break it down.
Well, Domantas Sabonis did record yet another triple-double. That's 6 for him now this season, 16 points, 10 rebounds. Got that 10th rebound on the very last play of the game and 10 assists. Harrison Barnes goes for 27. He was on fire early in this game, 6 of 9 from 3, 8 of 13 overall with 4 rebounds. Keegan Murray, a bit of a step back from his game last night, still was very, very clutch for them at the end there with a couple of big threes in the fourth quarter, 13 points on 3 of 8 shooting from 3. De'Aaron Fox, 31 points, 9 assists, 4 rebounds. And Kevin Huerter, a 20-point game going 8 of 12 from the floor. He played really, really well tonight, Kevin Huerter did.
Yeah, he did. I mean, we were talking about last night, he had the chain on. First chain of the season for him. Now, that sounds weird to say.
Yeah.
First chain of the season for him. And I think, we had a great conversation last night, Calvin. We talked about how the chain is, not only something to reward people for a great game or a great performance, but it's also a motivational tactic. It's something that they can use to make people, want to get the chain again, or just, some validation for hard work. I think that 100% happened tonight. We saw Kevin Huerter. I'm going to call out the refs again, dude. We saw a lot of bad refereeing in this game, but Kevin Huerter was on it tonight. He was playing great defense. That was a block 3 late in the game. I'm just going to say that straight up. He had the ball first. Good contest. And then that wasn't even his only, great play of the game. He had a lot of really, really good defensive possessions. So I'm ecstatic with Kevin Huerter. I got nothing else to say about Kevin.
Yeah, no, I agree. I watched him a lot closer tonight on defense after him getting the chain last night. And you said something I think that really resonated with me and is very, very obvious. He just looked a lot more motivated on that end of the floor tonight. Not to say that he doesn't work hard, most nights, but he seemed to really, really he impressed me a lot. He gets a lot of deflections. He plays the passing lanes very well. But his effort to fight over screens tonight, to close out, in the scramble mode on defense, it was all very good.
Get out of here, Lane. This is not the downfall of the Sacramento Kings. I don't know what you're talking about. Are you a Blazers fan, Lane? You're a Blazers fan, right? No, the Sacramento Kings are going to be okay, guys. They're going to be okay. It's just a loss. We're going to move on. We're going to learn. We got some adversity. Pressure makes diamonds, Calvin. Pressure makes diamonds.
Yes, it does.
We're in the middle of a tough, grueling season. And honestly, like I said, the Kings are ahead of schedule. They're looking good. They're learning. I love what I saw to Keegan Murray tonight. Only 13 points for him, but the dude was super aggressive, and man, was he cold-blooded from three-point range.
That shot is really nice.
It's
really,
he's
really
killing
nice.
it. He's killing it. Did you go over the whole box score?
I did the starters.
Okay.
There's not much to report from the bench.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Not
Malik
much.
Monk
20
leads the
points
way
tonight.
with 9 points on 3 of 10 shooting and 3 assists.
What are your thoughts on Malik? Because, I mean, he did a little bit of everything tonight. Had a really, really nice scoop layup under the basket. I saw someone on Twitter was like, does Malik play for the Harlem Globetrotters? He's looking great
Yeah.
out there. But he's still in the middle of this, huge shooting slump. We even saw him miss a bunch of mid-range, which normally he's money from.
Yeah.
I love this Kings team when Malik is firing on all cylinders. When he's making shots, this Kings team is a really, really hard team to beat. As of lately, he hasn't been making shots. And the Kings are on a 6-game winning streak with him as cold as he's been. If he would have made a couple more tonight, maybe the Kings get the victory. That's beside the point. Where are you at right now on Mr. Monk?
I mean, to say that he's struggling is an understatement. He's definitely struggling a lot right now. He did, I thought, got off to a good start offensively, being aggressive. He had some really nice bounce passes for a couple of layups. That's the extra thing that he can bring to the table when he's not making shots. Mike Brown says it all the time. How are you going to affect the game if your shot's not going in to these role players, The defense is still not good, although I do give him a lot of credit for that weak side. I don't know if he actually got the block on Montrezl Harrell when he went in for that dunk, but he did make a really nice challenge on that play, and that was a key play late in the game. To be mentioning his name defensively in those moments is definitely something new, I think, for Kings fans. He has been struggling, though, so I think the bench in general, if they don't get off to a good start, Davion Mitchell was not really, really sound, I thought, offensively. He doesn't always make a ton of shots, but it is a feast or famine type scenario with this bench. If they don't get off to a good start offensively, knock down a couple outside shots, and Philadelphia's defense in the second half got really, really ratcheted up a notch. They extended the defense, pushed everybody out, starting the Kings offense much further from the basket, and they definitely struggled with that, going back and forth between the zone and the man.
Yeah, 100%. Tom says, horrible loss tonight. Yeah, Tom, it was quite unfortunate, but we are trying to stay positive, as Rodder says here. Lee, shout out to Lee here. Yeah, tough loss. I mean, straight up, it is a tough loss. The third quarter was something to behold. Yeah, third quarter is something to build off of, right? There's going to be a lot of game footage for the Sacramento Kings to watch in this game and figure out how they can get better, right? The Sixers started making threes. The Kings had a bunch of dumb turnovers. Calvin, they had one turnover in the first quarter of this game.
Yeah.
Then 4 more turnovers in the second quarter. And then they end this game with 9 turnovers total. So 4 more in the second half. You hear 9 turnovers, you think pretty good game for the Sacramento Kings, right?
Yeah.
But they started missing shots. They just couldn't get any flow on offense. And then, as someone else here pointed out in the chat, the free throws really, really killed the Sacramento Kings. 75% from the free throw line,
That hurt.
including 4 misses in a row. Do they get free donuts if the Kings miss free throws or no?
They probably
It's
should.
only if the other team, right? And then, I really, really thought HB was going to have all 3 of those at the end. It
Very
really, really
unfortunate.
hurt.
Yep.
He missed the first one. That was so rough. We also saw Sabonis get inside there, get his last rebound on that thing, and try and tip it back in. No foul call, a lot of contact, something he's got to be used to at this point.
Yep.
Let's take a look here at the team stats, and give me your thoughts kind of on that last couple possessions for the Kings.
Well, again, I thought that Philadelphia played really good defense. De'Aaron Fox was doing his normal thing late in the game. They just couldn't get stops on the other end. 16 offensive rebounds given up, 70 points in the paint. Even if you score over 120 like we see tonight, it's hard to win when you give up those types of numbers.
Lane's calling me out. It's cookies, not donuts.
Cookies. When the Kings miss 4 in a row, they should get donuts.
Yeah. Lane, I've had a long day, bro. I was in the valley hiking. Oh, man, I had so much fun in the valley. So sorry. I apologize. I'm not my 100% self. Wish there was a win. Maybe that would bring some more energy out of me. But sorry for interrupting. Keep going.
No, that was pretty much it. I thought the Kings, they executed well enough. They were able to put the ball in the basket mostly because they gave it to De'Aaron Fox, and that's the luxury of having Fox on this team when everything is falling apart around you and the offense isn't working as well. You can give him the ball and get out of his way, and he's going to get to the basket and score, and he did. But when you're playing from behind, the only way that you overtake a team and win is by getting stops, and they just did not get stops. Maxey was amazing in this game. I don't know how many contested layups he made tonight at the rim. Some of them were contested really, really well without fouling, and he still was able to get it to go. So you gave up too many offensive rebounds, too many second chance points. That's how they lost this game. It wasn't for lack of firepower on offense, even though they went through, spells of not being effective. They still scored 127 points, but you can't win when you give up more than that and give up a ton of offensive rebounds and just get absolutely annihilated in the paint.
Yeah, guys, I just made a couple adjustments, so hopefully that fixes the stream quality for you guys. I apologize. We have a lot of exciting changes coming on Monday, so we're going to talk about that a little bit later, but make sure you are here for Monday's stream. It's going to be very, very exciting. And, we should have some hardwired internet by then and not have anything to worry about. Shout out to Lydia here for joining in. Central Valley King is here. Big Bird, DJ, Mr. Angel, welcome in. Oh, we also got SpaceX Dragon Chicken, one of my favorite names. Shout out to you guys for all joining in. It's a loss. It's unfortunate. Kings lose basketball games. But, hey, you guys are here. You guys are real fans. That's what it's all about. Calvin, you want to go over these stats here, team stats?
Both teams shot it pretty well overall. 55%, we'll call it, for the Kings, and 53%, we'll call it, for Philadelphia. They shot tremendously well from outside, especially in that second half. 43% from three for the Sixers. Those 7 key missed free throws we talked about already for Sacramento. And then, the rebounds, 45 to 29, but 16 to 4 offensive rebounds in favor of the Sixers. That's just too much to overcome. Too many second chance points. When your defense isn't one of the better defenses around, you put yourself in an even bigger hole when you give teams multiple opportunities to score on you. And the 70 points in the paint. Again, those are the 2 biggest numbers here for me.
Yeah, big numbers. And those free throws, I think, are, you look at the free throws, you're like, okay, you shot 29 free throws on the game. You made almost 76%. That's not bad, but it's situational is huge, right?
Yeah.
When Philadelphia is on a huge, huge run, the Kings have options. They get 4 free throws. Like you guys mentioned in the chat, they missed 4 in a row. And then, Calvin, something that I mentioned during the game, the Kings were in the bonus with like 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and they just could not get to the free throw line. I don't know what was happening. They just could not get to the free throw line. And then, of course, the missed free throw there at the end by Harrison Barnes. Really, really, really unfortunate. Calvin, I want to talk real quick about the Chimezie Metu injury, because I thought that was huge. For me, that was the turning point in this game. The Kings were up by, I think it was 21 or 19, something like that at that point. He goes down. It looks like a knee injury. I'm looking all over Twitter to see if I can find out what exactly the injury is. James Ham says maybe it's an ankle injury. or he said in real time it looked like an ankle injury, but in the review he thinks it's maybe a knee injury. We heard that he was out for the rest of the game. Have not heard much. Metu's been pretty big for the Kings. You and I have both raved about him here in the post-game streams a couple different times. We saw more Rashawn Holmes tonight because of the Metu injury. Give me your first thoughts on Metu, what he brings to the team. Then I want to hear, what your thoughts are on the injury and what this means for the Kings going forward.
Well, Chimezie is maybe one of the most athletic, if not the most athletic big men they have on this team. He brings versatility defensively, his ability to switch and guard smaller players. We talked about that last night. Not definitely known as a rim protector or anything like that, but can definitely challenge and alter shots inside. And then offensively, with his athletic gifts and abilities, he gives them the lob threat. He's learning to make smart decisions with the ball in the middle of the floor when they give it to him, kind of running him like they do Domas, with the starters. So it's definitely a loss for them, considering that their depth overall at the forward and center position is not the greatest. The injury to me definitely looks like a knee injury. It was a hyperextended, saw the knee buckle. You could tell by his reaction immediately that it was causing him a lot of pain. So I don't have, it does not look good to me.
Yeah.
You never know. We wait to get the MRI results, and hopefully he avoided major ligament damage.
We
and
saw
it's
this
just
on
a
Ja Morant.
hyperextension, but
We saw this similar injury to Ja Morant, and we were like, oh, he's out for the whole year, maybe worse.
Yeah.
Missed like a game or two.
You just have to hope at this point for him.
Yeah. What do you think this means for the Kings?
That's a good question. I beg the question to you, does this make them more likely to make a move now at the trade deadline? Not necessarily because they're just looking for way to need another piece if Chimezie's going to miss a lot of time. I do give a lot of credit to Rashawn Holmes for his ability to stay ready for the moment when his name is called. The Kings were not playing with a ton of energy there in that second half. He came in and immediately fired them up, blocks, rebounds, a couple of great post moves inside when he got the opportunity. So definitely give him credit. And his name is going to be called, from here on out until the Kings make a move if they do.
Definitely. Shout out to Jeff the Lefty for joining me. Jeff, honestly, my first thoughts on the game, shitty game, dude. Kings lost. They blew a huge lead. A lot of dumb mistakes by them. Also not happy with the officiating in this game. But I'm trying to stay positive, and we are using this as a learning lesson and moving forward. So there you go. There you go. Shout out to Mike here for joining in. But, yeah, Calvin, I agree with you. I love what I saw out of Rashawn tonight. The energy from him, the effort, the enthusiasm. It's really so hard to do. It is so, so hard. He played Wednesday night. He started because Sabonis was out. He played incredibly well. The Kings won that game. Then last night, didn't play a minute. Didn't play a single minute last night. And then fast forward to tonight, probably wouldn't have played if it wasn't for that injury. Injury happens. He stays ready. He's on the court. He goes in. He's there playing. So, shout out to Rashawn Holmes. And let me make one more change here, Calvin. You wanna go for it for a minute? I'm gonna see if I can fix this lagging here.
Well, yeah, I think that we've already been asking this question, right? Should the Kings make a move? Should they add a backup center? Should they get more depth, on the front court? And they might be forced into doing that now. Which is kind of a tricky thing when you're trying to make a trade, right? Because if you feel like you need to make a move because you lost somebody to injury, that's a different kind of mindset when you go to the negotiating table as opposed to, all right, we're just looking to see if we can improve the team here. So you definitely, we're all hoping and praying for a good prognosis on the knee for Chimezie or the leg, whatever the injury is. And as of now, you're kind of in a holding pattern if you're Mike Brown and Monty McNair to see what the overall issue is and how much time they expect him to miss. And we do apologize, guys, for the stream buffering. Hopefully it'll correct itself or we can make some changes here. But definitely want to hear from you guys in the chat. I know a lot of people have already been on the train of they need to make a move and grab somebody before this, do you think that it's more likely now that the Kings will do so?
I don't know if we still have them there, Calvin. Still got Twitter Spaces, though, so that's always good. All right, Calvin. While I try and get this corrected here, talk a little bit about Harrison Barnes, because I know he missed those free throws late in the game, but he was shooting incredibly well. I believe he had like 5 or 6 threes in this game.
6.
I was stoked on HB until the end there. But, hey, you know, HB can only do what he can do. 8 of 13 from the field, 6 of 9 from three-point range, 5 of 7 from the free throw line. Those only 2 misses came at the very, very end there. Give me your thoughts on Harrison Barnes. How is he taking this loss? And, you know, is it better to have a veteran like this guy miss these shots and have a guy like I almost feel like maybe this gives more confidence to a guy like Keegan Murray, right? Because Keegan hasn't been in a lot of these situations. But, you know, one thing I'll just say from personal experience, when I am starting a new job or working in a job and I see a guy that's been there for a long time make a mistake, and, you know, you console them, you work with them afterwards, and it's all okay. You see that it's okay. It makes you less afraid to make those mistakes in the future. So give me your thoughts on that.
Well, Harrison's a seasoned vet at this point, right? He's played in NBA Finals games. He's won a championship. So I think that he'll be able to kind of put this behind him. Certainly, any player in that situation is going to feel, you know, a lot of responsibility. Had a chance to tie the game at the free throw line. You know, those are the types of things that as a kid you dream about being in those situations. You practice with nobody around you. You know, game on the line. You got to make 2 free throws to win. It's unfortunate that he missed. I have no issue or worry about him from a mental standpoint. I think that, you know, like I said, he's been in this game long enough to know that there's ups and downs. He'll get another opportunity, and I really hope that it doesn't take away too much from everyone's standpoint of how well he played in this game. He had a phenomenal game again, and he's been so good for them, especially from the three-point line as of late. So I think the confidence will still be there for him. If anything, it's a motivational tool, right, to come game. He'll probably be in the gym tonight shooting a ton of free throws.
Yeah, shout out to Dennis for joining in. Hopefully that helped the stream, guys. Jim says the buffering is getting bad, but audio is okay. All right, well, we're going to keep going here. If it gets even worse, we might end the stream a little bit early, but we're going to try our best. Like I said, stay tuned for Monday. We are making it much more efficient, much better experience for you guys. So we are in the middle of doing some things, but let's get back to the game here, Calvin. We talked about HB. We talked about Herter. Did we talk about Fox and Sabonis yet?
Not in detail.
Let's talk about Fox. 31 points for him, 9 of 10 from the free throw line, missed both of his three-point attempts, 11 of 19 from the field, 4 rebounds, 9 assists. He was extremely, extremely aggressive in the fourth quarter there, playing absolutely phenomenal, kept getting inside. He was stopping, he was popping, he was De'Aaron Foxing. Give me your thoughts on Fox.
A good overall game for De'Aaron, right? I mean, he came alive late when they needed him to. I think that where the Kings really failed and broke down in this game isn't necessarily on an individual level. It's from a team standpoint, not being able to collectively come up with rebounds and end possessions for the Sixers, leading to too many second chance points. And then they gave up, a ton of points in the paint and had some really critical turnovers in the second half and missed free throws. You can't really put this on one person, I would say. But another good game from him, another fantastic, efficient performance offensively. He came alive when they needed him to. If they were going to win this game, like I said, Philadelphia made some really good defensive adjustments. You kind of had to give the ball to your go-to guy in the fourth quarter and say, take us to victory, take us to the promised land. And they came up just a little bit short. Yep. So overall, I thought it was a great game. The 9 assists, I think, is the most important thing, or what stands out to me the most in this one, because he still is able to get his from a scoring standpoint in the fourth quarter, but he was really Sabonis the offense for a lot of this game, especially in the second half. And that was a really crucial part for why Sacramento started to struggle.
Yep.
They run so much stuff through him. Montrezl Harrell did a really great job of denying him the ball or pushing him off of his spot, so that he had to catch the ball out on the three-point line or even further than that. The Kings don't like to set up their offense from there, right? They want to get Sabonis on the post or in that free throw line extended area where he can operate to find everybody for backdoor cuts. They were pushing him way, way, way out beyond the three-point line, and that really messed up the offense. But Fox did a great job since they were unable to put the ball in Sabonis' hands of finding other guys. He probably could have had 12 assists in this game. He made a couple of really nice passes where the Kings just blew the shot as the end result. But he still gets 9 assists for the game. Overall, you got to be pretty pleased with that.
Yeah, I like it. He found the perfect combination tonight of attacking and passing the ball. There was one moment late in the game where he did attack, went for the 2. I saw Kevin Huerter was wide open for the 3. That would have definitely helped them in the foul game if Kevin Huerter would have made that shot. But hey, shout out to De'Aaron Fox. Great performance by him tonight. Unfortunately, it did not end up in a Kings victory. Shout out to Wendy for joining in. Wendy, thank you. Hopefully you like the new haircut. And also Dylan and Jay, welcome in. Dylan says, real quick. Someone was asking about All-Star voting. It is the last day to vote for your. If you don't have the link, you can go to our Twitter account, Royal_Rebounds. At the top of the page, there's a link you can click on to vote. It automatically fills out your entire bracket, all 5 Kings starters. Just hit review and submit, and you can vote. Please vote. I think it's 3 times the votes today.
Yeah, it counts for triples.
So make sure you do that. Dylan's got a question for you, Calvin. He says, when are we going to stop pretending that Malik is amazing? If it weren't for Fox, he would be third string. Let's play Terrence Davis.
I think it's a fair question. I don't know if we've ever really said that Malik is amazing. He's had some good games. He's had good performances, but he's super inconsistent, right? I mean, even when he is making good plays for others, he will, fail to play good defense. He'll commit a costly turnover. He is kind of one of those, like a home run hitter in baseball. It's either a home run or a strikeout. There's no in between with him. There's no singles. There's no doubles. So the thing about when they signed him was he shot over 40% from 3 last year with the Lakers.
Yep.
He's not doing that this season. That's a big, he's being asked to play a different role, to be fair to him, because he's not just a spot up shooter anymore. That's what he was in LA. They want him to be more of a playmaker here. And there's a fair argument to say that that's not how he should be used, given his play over the past couple of months.
When you play with LeBron James, you become a jump shooter. Even if you're not a jump shooter, you become a jump shooter if you play with LeBron James, not to mention a great player like Anthony Davis. So I couldn't agree more with you. If it wasn't for Kevin Huerter, maybe Malik Monk would be more of a spot-up shooter, but you're right. They're asking him to do a little bit more. He's being asked to pass the ball, rebound a little bit, play some good defense, get other guys involved. I think he does struggle at times, but guys, shooters shoot. Shooters go through shooting slumps. It happens. It's all part of the game. I'm not saying he's amazing, but I think he's much better than he's been playing recently. So I do expect him to get back on track sooner rather than later. We'll see when that is. Shout out to Edward. Edward says the Kings got pushed around and could not match the Sixers' intensity. That was hard to watch. I totally agree, Edward. And as Calvin said earlier in the stream, the Sixers just wanted it more. I also saw some people mentioning, I see Brian's here, some people were mentioning Montrezl Harrell, coined as Mr. Uh-oh by a former Kings announcer, Grant Napier. Dude, he always has the Sacramento Kings number, Calvin, and he rebounding, he's fighting on every single possession. Montrezl Harrell was absolutely huge for the 76ers tonight. You mentioned when we were watching the game, his defense on Sabonis. Yeah. We saw multiple moments late in the game where Sabonis has him one-on-one. Sabonis wasn't able to back him down and get something easy at the basket. What were your thoughts on Mr. Uh-oh? And could this potentially be a trade candidate or a trade target for you?
That's interesting. I mean, I don't see Philadelphia wanting to let him go, really, especially with, Joel Embiid much healthier and available over the last couple of seasons compared to his early years in the league, but that's still a thing that kind of hangs over your head with him, right? So you want to make sure that you have somebody who has been a starter. Montrezl Harrell has been a starter in this league before. You want a good backup behind him just in case Embiid has to miss some time. So I would be surprised if Philadelphia even considered trading him at this point, given the fact that they're winning a lot of games. They have a chance, or they think they have a chance to win the Eastern Conference. But I do think that it was an interesting matchup tonight because a lot of times Sabonis is not the fastest guy on the court for sure, but he's really talented with the ball in his hands. He's a good ball handler, and he makes really good moves, spin moves, all of this stuff. So when he has the bigger, slower guys on him, a lot of times they can't follow him that far out to the perimeter. Montrezl Harrell can. So that was one of the big differences, I thought, in how they defended him. Again, pushing him away from the basket, pushing him off of his spots, forcing the Kings to start their offense further out than they normally like to. And it worked really well. This might be sort of a blueprint for how to defend the Kings if you have the personnel to do it.
Yeah. I see that too, right? And that's the unfortunate part about games like this. I mean, I wouldn't say the Kings were exposed in this game. They scored 127 points still. But maybe, this could, like you said, give some teams some footage on the Sacramento Kings on what you can do to help slow them down. We've heard trade rumors over the past multiple seasons now between the Sixers and the Kings, whether it's for Ben Simmons or some of these other guys, Tobias Harris, Matisse Thybulle. Don't forget, there is a pretty big connection between these two GMs, Monty McNair and Daryl Morey. Monty worked under Daryl in Houston. So I could see them potentially making a move. Whether it happens or not, we will see. The trade deadline is, 3 weeks away at this point, Calvin? No, 2 weeks away almost.
Coming down to the wire.
So we'll definitely see what's going on here, guys. I'm still, it looks like our internet is getting worse. Can you guys let me know here in the chat if the connection is working? Is it buffering? Is it getting better? Because if it's not getting better, we might just go over the next game and get to working here in the studio because I want it to be improved and better for you guys on Monday. Yes, Matthew, we did have a game today, and the Sacramento Kings showed up in the first half only.
It's okay. They can still win 53 games.
If my math is correct, they can still win 53 games. Yeah, Jose, it's not your internet, it's our internet here. So if we're buffering, if you guys are having a bunch of problems here, we do have Spectrum. You know it, the worst internet for sure. Nick, I see you here in Twitter Spaces. We appreciate you, but I think we're going to end the stream here in a second. We're having a lot of internet issues. So real quick, Calvin, let's just take a look here into the standings. As you can see, the Sacramento Kings are 26-19, 7 games above 500. They still have the 3rd seed in the Western Conference. Calvin. Next up is the Memphis Grizzlies on Monday.
Big game.
We had a great 6-game winning streak there against Orlando, 2 games against Houston, San Antonio, the Lakers, Oklahoma City. We did lose tonight, unfortunately, to Philadelphia. But let's talk about this game against Memphis on Monday, Cal, and it is on NBA TV. This is a home game, and this is interesting right here, Calvin. ESPN has the Kings as the favorite to win this game.
Yeah.
That's kind of strange. Did you watch last night's game?
I didn't watch the whole thing.
Okay.
But I did see the fireworks at the end of the first half.
Break it down for us.
Well, I don't know if I can break it down. I didn't. All I saw were a couple replays, but it looked like, and then of course you see the tweets that Shannon Sharp and Dylan Brooks put out at the end of the game. They don't want these problems. The Memphis Grizzlies. There's no secret about who they are. They're a young, confident group that I kind of compare them as the new 21st century version of the Bad Boys. The Detroit Pistons, right? A team that
nobody likes them.
Nobody likes. They're very physical. They beat you up inside. They play tough physical defense, and they talk a lot of trash.
Yep.
And guys don't like that.
Guys do not like that at all.
So this is a big game. I mean, the last time the Kings played Memphis, Desmond Bane was out. In fact, he might have missed the last 2 games that they played against Sacramento. He's a fantastic player. Jaren Jackson Jr. is playing at a all NBA defensive level. I think he's right now my favorite for Defensive Player of the Year. This team killed them on the offensive glass last time they played, as well as in the paint. That's what Memphis does very, very well. So it goes without saying, this is going to be an intense game because Memphis has a bad taste in their mouth the way their last game went.
Yep.
The Kings now have a bad taste in their mouth. These are 2 of the top 3 teams in the Western Conference. It's a nationally televised game. This is a big one.
Yeah, this is a huge, huge game for the Sacramento Kings. Calvin, I mean, it's going to be rough, right? We'll see what happens with Metu. We'll hopefully get an update on him soon, but I don't think he'll be available to play for this game. But we'll see. As some people here in the chat mentioned, John Moran is a lot of fun to watch. I don't think I'm going to have much fun watching him on Monday if he's flying over a bunch of Sacramento Kings players.
Yeah.
Were there any suspensions or anything announced for that? Steven Adams jumping in there?
Not that I've heard.
Okay.
I don't think so. I don't know for sure, but I haven't heard anything about that.
Okay. You know me. And
I don't think they even ejected anybody from the game.
I like some Steven Adams. Not going to be my friend on Monday, that's for sure. But you're right. This is a very, very a team that doesn't shoot a lot of threes, but when they do, they shoot them well. And they just like to battle inside. It's hard to get to the basket against this team. They got guys like
tough.
Jaren Jackson Jr. That are blocking shots. Steven Adams, one of the strongest players in the NBA. They get a ton of rebounds as well. This is going to be a rough game for Domantas Sabonis battling inside.
Yeah.
And then the De'Aaron Fox, John Morant matchup will be very, very exciting. But Calvin, give me your keys to the game here.
Well, they're very similar to the keys to the game for most of Kings games, right? But the Grizzlies have been basically the best rebounding team in the NBA the last 2 seasons. The Kings are not a good rebounding team, so it's incredibly, incredibly important. Keegan Murray has done a much better job as of late prior to tonight's game. But these are tough teams to rebound against. Even though the Sixers didn't have a ton of size out there tonight, Harrell and PJ Tucker are 2 really tough guys to battle inside for rebounds. And they'll push rookies like Keegan Murray out of the way pretty easily. It doesn't get any easier or it doesn't get any harder against the Memphis Grizzlies. Brandon Clark is another guy that did not play in the last game when against the Kings. Another really solid player coming in off the bench, good rebounder. So rebounding is definitely the number 1 key here. I think turnovers, again, are going to be really, really important. And just like tonight, I said the bench was going to have to come up big. They did not tonight. That might have saved them in this game if they were able to get a little more production. The Grizzlies have their whole starting lineup back. So that's going to be, basically blow for blow trade right there with the Kings, who have a good starting lineup as well. You need the production off the bench in this game. Yeah, definitely.
Dylan, I am not trading Sabonis. Don't even think about it at this point. This is going to be a tough game. Kings, it's funny. This is like my go-to key to the game is the Kings need to control the tempo of the game. I feel like when the Kings control the tempo, they do so much better. I mean, you look at the first half of this game, minus maybe the last 2 minutes of the second quarter, the Kings were flowing. They were controlling the tempo. They were playing free. They were making shots. They looked like they were having a good time, and they were up 20 points. You look at the second half of this game, the complete opposite situation. The Kings were not in control. They're fighting back. They're trying to stop the bleeding, and I think that really, really affects them. So I only got 1 key for the game, and it is going to be control the tempo for the Sacramento Kings.
Definitely an important thing.
Yeah. But, guys, we want to thank you all for joining us tonight. I'm so sorry we're having some issues with hit that subscribe button. Hopefully you guys are ecstatic and excited for Monday's game against the Memphis Grizzlies. It will be a lot of fun. And make sure to join us on Monday. We have a lot of exciting changes coming, so make sure you stay tuned for that. Calvin, any last words for the Kings fans out there?
Tough loss. Eat your humble pie. Get some rest and forget about this one. You got a big game on Monday.
Yeah.
tomorrow's practice or walkthrough is going to be really important to kind of clear your mind, get the bad taste out of your mouth, and focus on a really, really good Memphis Grizzlies team.
Yeah, I kind of feel like the Sacramento Kings tonight, Calvin. We were up 21. We were going great. The stream was going great, and then the Wi-Fi just dropped out on us, just like what happened to the Sacramento Kings. So thank you guys so much. I apologize, but thank you guys so much for watching. We will see you guys all on Monday, and go Kings.